This doesn't have some of the issues that last year's car had.
You know, we've had these problems that we faced last year, and we've gone round and round and round trying to understand what those are and how we can fix those.
If you are a true F1 fan, there you are among millions waiting for Mercedes' W14 upgrades, aren't you? But this around, it won't just come with a few new exterior upgrades, but could possibly include a chassis upgrade to please Hamilton's driving style. So sit back and relax while we go deep into the updates. As Toto Wolff stated, Mercedes are limited in their ability to fix Lewis Hamilton's sitting position problems, saying that it can only be altered between 5 and 15 centimeters, but that it will not be impossible to change, making Hamilton a happy man after driving 5 races in a car with multiple issues, including a lack of downforce, turning speed and straight line speed. I'm not sure if people are aware that he told Australian reporters that we sit closer to the front wheels than all our other drivers. When you're driving, you feel like you're sitting on the front wheels, which is one of the worst feelings to have when driving a car. He also added, if you were driving your car at home and put the wheels right underneath your legs, you would be unhappy when approaching a roundabout. So what does that do? It just changes the attitude of the car and how you perceive its movement, making it harder to predict compared to when you're further back and sitting closer to the centre. His team boss, Wolff, revealed at the time that it is something Lewis expresses very clearly and emphasises the importance of listening to a 7-time world champion, a stark contrast to how Hamilton felt after the season opening Bahrain GP. When he told the BBC that Mercedes had not listened to him when designing the W14, however, as Wolff observed, adjusting Hamilton's seating posture is not a simple cure, at least not if he wants a significant slide backward. He added, we don't think it's a big problem from a technical standpoint, we're looking at the big concept of the driver's position in the cockpit. Obviously, that's one of the most important things, and not just in terms of weight distribution, or shall we say the rational reasons for lightweight distribution, aerodynamics and so on, but also where the driver has the best feeling in the car. It remains to be seen whether 15cm backward is enough for Hamilton. Do you believe this will help Hamilton's season? Share your thoughts in the comment section below, even if he doesn't receive the exact seat he desires. Wolff believes Mercedes' next round of upgrades, which were originally planned for Imola before the race was postponed due to flooding, will provide him and Russell with more drivability and pace. Speaking about the planned upgrades, which include new suspension parts, bodywork and other items, Wolff said, I don't believe in miracles, but I think the stability of the car and predictability for the drivers is just superb. If we believe we can sort that out and help it by redesigning the front suspension, then that's definitely a good avenue. He admitted, I've never seen a silver bullet being introduced where suddenly you unlock half a second of performance, so I very much doubt that it's going to happen here. Nonetheless, despite the approaching delivery of a significant upgrade package, despite only one win in the first year of the new ground effect rules last season, Formula 1 expert Peter Windsor expects Mercedes to soldier on without a zero-pod car idea, leaving the big side pod update for the W15 next year. Mercedes has decided to go with a slim side pod chassis for 2023, but after a harsh experience at the first race in Bahrain when George Russell and Lewis Hamilton qualified 6/10 off pole, team head Toto Wolff conceded Mercedes had gone the wrong road and requested extensive alterations. Mercedes was anticipated to launch a radically changed car at the recently cancelled Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, with the suspension that the team might adopt a more conventional side pod design. Red Bull Windsor, speaking on a recent YouTube live, is skeptical that Mercedes will deploy a quick Red Bull beta with the huge improvement, he said. If you're looking for something that might give them a little bit more consistency, a larger sweet spot or operating window as they call it, maybe they'll do that. It was interesting to read what they're saying about the upgrades, which is basically, this is the start of a new path, which we believe long term will take us back to the front and winning races. So the implication is they've decided where they're going with the car, and this is the first step in that direction. Whether they're going to get away from the whole zero pod thing, and this is the first step towards going towards a conventional car, remains to be seen. But my guess is that they'll stick with this car, but make some changes based on a better correlation between modelling CFD and wind tunnel testing, now that they've had a little bit more testing time since not being world champions last winter. Red Bull is leading the championship by 122 points over second place Aston Martin and has won every race in 2023 to date. Windsor envisions a scenario in which the development of dominant RB19 car stalls around the time of the Belgian Grand Prix in July. final round before the summer break. Only then will Red Bull's competitors be able to close the gap and challenge for regular victories. I think Red Bull will probably pull the plug on development on this car around Spa time because they'll be thinking already of 24, and they've got this year's championship sewn up, he said. So at that point, I think you might start to see a Mercedes or Ferrari or possibly even Aston Martin really close to a Red Bull. But it'll be an artificial thing because Red Bull will be looking ahead to 24, similar to the latter half of last year. Following the Imola round's postponement, Windsor predicted that some teams would delay the release of their new parts until the Spanish GP next month, pointing out the upcoming race in Monaco as too risky. It's not a place that you'd want to bring upgrades. If there was an upgrade on the car at Imola, that would have worked at Monaco. By which I mean, it would have been on the car at Monaco as well. Then they may not be running that upgrade now, he added. But why would Mercedes continue to do it? This could cause problems according to Gary Anderson, a former Formula 1 designer. The W14 will have a reworked floor, front suspension and side pods, which will result in a much different aerodynamic flow than previously. Mercedes, according to Gary Anderson, will miss the mark by implementing the upgrades next weekend. Taking to the track in Monaco in a car that, if successful, will need to incorporate a rearranged aerodynamic flow structure could be a problem. Nonetheless, the former Jordan designer believes Mercedes has no choice but to go for it. From what we know, the car has to undergo some major surgery to be able to package the new side pods and front suspension geometry, so there's no going back for the team. According to Duncan Elliott, the Brackley squad's head of composite design, it's fair to say that the car is constantly evolving. He said in a video on Mercedes' official YouTube channel, in addition to the underlying development rate of the car, there are also event-specific developments that we target, such as the low downforce rear wing for events like Spa. It's fair to say that the development direction can also change, and in order to ensure that we always achieve maximum performance, we work closely with the Aero group to optimize the solution prior to the final release, and we then work closely with manufacturing to ensure that we achieve the best quality component. The most difficult challenge is always time. The faster you can get from the tunnel to the track and positively impact the race weekend, the better. Mercedes' persistence in bringing the new parts to Monaco speaks well for Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, implying that the wind tunnel testing produced excellent results. Ricardo Moscone, the team's head of trackside performance, added, "It's all about striking the right balance between learning about the new upgrade and maximising the performance of that specific race weekend. We need to know exactly what the expectations are in terms of car balance. We need to see if we can match those expectations if they are translated into the behaviour on track. We gathered after the review and looked at those specific examples to find out exactly what was going on at the time and if the upgrade was doing what we intended to do. So what are your thoughts? Will the big update still be introduced in Monaco? And will it deliver them a big enough performance leap that they will join the front of the race? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below."